Everyone, and welcome to today's video. This is a B1 level intermediate ESL lesson. Today we're going to be focusing on some writing skills. We'll be learning how to write a how-to guide and learning to use the phrase in order to plus the infinitive of purpose, and also using this and these to refer to items that have already been mentioned. All right, so there are different ways of teaching. There are different ways to teach. So how do these teachers pass knowledge on to their students? Well, here it looks like the students are learning from a visit to either a museum or an art gallery. Here the teacher is demonstrating something on the blackboard. In this setting, the students are learning by doing an experiment. And here the teacher or the professor is giving a lecture in a large lecture hall. So we all learn differently. So we're going to read what Emma, Antonio, and Barack say about learning. Emma says, I have to write everything down. If I want to remember something long term, I have to write it. It helps my brain process the information. Barack says, when I learn a new topic, I try to discuss it with people. When I talk about the same topic a few times in a week, I feel like I'll remember it forever. And Antonio says, I learn by doing things. I can pull anything apart and put it back together again, but just don't ask me to tell you the order I did it in. So all English students have to learn to speak, read, write, and listen, and they also need to learn grammar and vocabulary. So Marie Claire says, to learn new vocabulary, I make sentences using the new words and keep them in a special notebook. Priya says, I try to practice new grammar rules in conversations as quickly as possible so I can increase my use of the language. And Remy says, in order to improve my listening skills, I listen to a podcast every day. So do any of these things? Do you do any of these things to learn English? And do you think that the students give good advice? And you can share your comments, your ideas in the comments section. So discuss how you learn English. What do you do that works well? And here are some other questions that you can answer in the comments. There are many accents in English. What do you do to improve your listening skills? Many people like to speak correctly. How do you learn grammar? How do you learn to write better in English? What do you do to improve your reading skills? And what other things do you do to learn English? So here are the first two sentences in an article about preferred learning styles. So we're going to read it and then you can answer the questions. Are you interested in learning how to speak more fluently and naturally? Understanding your preferred learning style may help you to achieve your goal. So the author is going to talk about 3 different types of learners. What types of learners are there and how are they different? So first we'll read about visual learners and answer the questions. You can pause the video and read on your own, or you can follow along as I read. Are you interested in learning how to speak more fluently and naturally? Understanding your preferred learning style may help you to achieve your goal. As the name suggests, visual learners feel more comfortable learning through what they can see. If you're a visual learner, you probably find it useful to use pictures, charts, and colors to learn more effectively. When you are writing down new vocabulary, you use color to study. This will ensure that you can visualize the words quickly when you speak. So what do visual learners find useful while learning? They find it useful to use pictures, charts, and colors. And what does visualize mean? It just means to see. And are you a visual learner, and how do you know? And you can answer question C in the comments if you'd like. Now take a closer look at the words in bold and answer the questions. So to learn more effectively and this. So what refers back to an idea that was already mentioned in the text? So this refers back to writing down new vocabulary and using color to study. And what gives a purpose for doing something? That to learn more effectively is the purpose. So when we want to know the purpose for doing something, we ask the question why. We can use an infinitive to show the purpose. Remember that the infinitive is the verb with the word to in front of it. You should read as much as possible to improve your vocabulary. To increase your accuracy when speaking, try to learn a new grammar rule each week. He listens to online radio stations to understand different accents. We also use the idiom in order to do something to show the aim or purpose. It has the same meaning as the infinitive. So he's learning English in order to find a better job. In order to improve his communication, he went to Sydney for 3 months, and she records herself speaking in order to listen for her mistakes. So now you can complete each sentence with an infinitive or in order to. Go ahead and pause the video, try these on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, so in order to concentrate better, it's always a good idea to study in a quiet place. Gabriel joined a conversation class to improve his fluency. In order to get a better grade on his final exam, Tommaso wrote every day for 30 minutes. Leo studied every day for a month to pass his end of the year exam. Let's see, to be a successful student, most teachers say that you should study regularly. Xavier says new words in sentences as often as possible in order to memorize new vocabulary. And to speak more confidently, Jakob practices English in front of the mirror. Now we're going to read about auditory learners and answer the questions. Again, you can pause the video and try this on your own, and then restart, or you can follow along as I read. As you might expect, auditory learners learn best when they are actively listening. If you're an auditory learner, you probably have strong listening skills and enjoy using audio and video clips to help you study. You prefer to listen to songs in order to get used to the sounds of English. You like to sing along as you listen so that you remember to incorporate natural pronunciation into your speaking. This will also help you speak more fluently. So what is active listening and what is passive listening? Well, passive listening is listening without a purpose, like listening to background music while studying. Active listening is listening with a purpose, like listening to a podcast to learn about a subject. Some people have a very musical ear. What are they good at when learning English? Musical people often find it easier than other students to pronounce English. And the internet has been wonderful for auditory learners. Why? They provide a lot of listening opportunities that were not available previously, and they allow students to listen to all different kinds of accents. All right, so now we're going to talk about this and these. So this and these can refer to ideas that were already mentioned. This refers to one idea, and these refers to more than one idea. The ideas were just mentioned previously. So for example, when you are writing down new vocabulary, use color to study. This, referring to writing down new vocabulary, will ensure that you can visualize the words when you speak. Make sure you read books. Ensure that you listen to the radio. These meaning these two things, reading books, listening to the radio, will help you become a successful English speaker. You might prefer to use a noun after the this and these. You can make sets of review cards to ensure you learn more effectively. You may prefer to use real-life examples. These ideas will be more memorable and easier to incorporate into your spoken English. Another example, you can try to write down new words as you listen to a TV program. This idea works well for visual learners. All right, so again, we're going to complete the sentences using, by filling in the gaps. You can pause the video, try these on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. Try to use at least 2 or 3 new words each day. Also try to write the same words in sentences. These techniques will help you to increase your active vocabulary. When studying, make sure that you get up from your desk each hour for 5 minutes. This will help you stay relaxed and refreshed. Talk in class and participate in class activities. These ideas will help you become a more successful English speaker. Thinking about your accent won't help you speak better. This will prevent you from improving your English. Practice talking to yourself in the mirror. Additionally, pay attention to how you move your lips and tongue to make sounds. These will help you to pronounce words with more confidence. Now, kinesthetic learners like to move when they learn. If you're a kinesthetic learner, you probably prefer to participate in activities rather than use traditional study methods. You could make new sets of review cards so that, or in order that you learn more effectively. You prefer to use real-life examples. These will be more memorable and easier to incorporate into your spoken English. It's worth remembering that many learners don't fit neatly into these 3 categories. In fact, most people are a mixture, so it's a good idea to try out a number of these techniques in order to see which ones suit you best. All right, so now for each type of learner, think of 2 different activities that would be suitable to learn English. And they've given you a start for the visual learner using a picture dictionary. You can also use charts, graphs, and you can fill in with any other ideas that you might have. Auditory, listen to online radio stations, maybe listen to podcasts. And kinesthetic, draw pictures of memory cards to learn vocabulary. Perhaps maybe play games like Scrabble, or do crossword puzzles in the target language. So you might come up with some other ideas. So now you're going to use the ideas that you came up with to write a short guide for a visual, auditory, or kinesthetic learner. You don't need to do all 3. You can just choose one, and then choose at least one language skill to give advice about, whether it's reading, writing, listening, or speaking. And these are the things that you want to include in your guide. What is the skill and how easy is it to learn? What are the problems that people have when they try to learn this skill? What is your first piece of advice to learn the skill, and what is the purpose? What is your second piece of advice, and why are you providing these pieces of advice? And remember to use the to plus the infinitive or the in order to wording, and use this and these to refer back to ideas, techniques, and ways of doing things. And then once you've written your guide, you can use the checklist to make sure that you answered all the questions, and you can check for capital letters, spelling, appropriate vocabulary. And if you'd like some feedback on your writing, feel free to message me through the channel, and I would be glad to take a look at your written guide and give you some feedback. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.